Hey, hello, hi. What's happening? Woo! Hey, everyone. It's Monday. I can trust my camera maybe a little bit that way. That's good. Okay, maybe not. Maybe back that way. Whatever. I hope everyone had a good Fourth. That's probably the last one we'll ever have. Anyway, um, it seems pretty readily apparent that nobody wants to make any trade deals with the United States of America. That we are going to be essentially trade deal-less with just wait, where'd my chat? Crap, sorry, my chat just it's on live chat. How do I get back to? I'm getting distracted here. Yeah, live chat, but I want. Crap. Well, I can't see the Twitch chat. Okay. I'm being distracted. No one wants to make any trade deals with the United States of America because we are terrible people. It comes down to. Remember, we had this agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States called NAFTA. And granted, there were a lot of people that were really upset about it, but it probably involved moving manufacturing outside the United States to these other countries. But manufacturers were already moving out of the United States by then. But it guaranteed a free trade zone for these three countries that make up the majority of North America. Donald Trump demanded in his first term, we need to turn this thing up. So he did. Rip. He got rid of NAFTA. In its place, he did the USMCA, the United States, Mexico-Canada agreement. And in this agreement, eliminated tariffs for countries all across both borders. Gone. Done. It wasn't that different than NAFTA. Just NAFTA with a harder to pronounce name, basically, is what it came out. Trump gets in office a second time, tears that agreement up, starts slapping tariffs on our neighbors. So any agreement that's made between the Donald Trump administration and another country will not be honored. It won't. He will, on a whim, change his mind and violate whatever agreement you had already established with him, whether the fact it was binding law or otherwise. So what we've seen happen recently is he arbitrarily slapped tariffs on everybody, and in the act of arbitrarily slapping tariffs on everyone, he arbitrarily took them off everyone and said, "I'm going to do an 90-day pause." But then he threw a whole bunch of tariffs out there for things like steel and aluminum anyway, at 40-50%. And he reached a couple of sort of pre-negotiation terms with China and with the UK. We're like, okay, we're going to put tariffs at this level here, and then it'll allow us to negotiate what we're going to do later. But no deal has been made, just sort of like the terms in order to get us to negotiate. No deals have actually been signed in either the UK or China. The only deal that has been signed is with Vietnam. And Vietnam, prior to any of this, never had any tariffs on U.S. goods. Zip, zero, none. You can import as much as you want, export as much as you want to Vietnam, and then we're not going to charge U.S. Goods tariffs. So, in the infinite wisdom of the Donald Trump administration, Vietnam agreed to eliminate all the tariffs that never existed, and in return, we slapped a 20% tariff on Vietnam. So other countries are not going to negotiate with us because we will not honor the agreement. The agreement will be arbitrary and stupid, and we are going to become a pariah state, so they're just going to avoid doing business with us. We're losing, I've seen recent estimates between $26 to $60 billion in international tourism is gone. U.S. automobile manufacturers can't sell cars overseas. Other U.S. products are having a hard time finding their way into foreign markets, especially agriculture. They're just going to cut us off. We are going to be isolated from the global environment, and they're going to start passing us by while we wallow as mud people. It seems that the market may have gotten a little bit of like that little itch in their butthole from that one today. SPY took a drop. Dow was down 500-600 points at one point. I think it might now be starting to settle in post holiday weekend that this economy is going to be contracting. Now, they passed the big beautiful bill, and in that big beautiful bill, they made ICE They've funded them with $160 billion, which is more than almost every military on Earth, save for like 10. So this mass secret police force now has a bigger budget than every law enforcement agency in the United States combined. That's how you get Gestapo and secret police and KGB and things like that. So keep that in mind. That's also coming. For some reason, GME went down a whole bunch today. It's down to 2270 today. Max Payne's 2350. So I went, okay, I'll bite. And I bought a whole bunch of 2350 calls for the end of the week. I think it's going to pass through that at some point because that's where Max Payne is. On the other side of things, Tesla took a big old dump, dropped $22, $23 from Friday because Elon is now announcing that he's going to create a third party. He's going to primary a whole bunch of senators and members of Congress specifically so that they'll lose their seats and then the Republicans won't have a majority anymore. So he's got hundreds of billions of dollars to throw behind this. He's pissed off and he's autistic. So it's a dog with a bone at this point. What else, monkey? Oh yeah, the Trump and his cabinet claim that we're going to be experiencing 5% growth over the next few months because of this big beautiful bill. Meanwhile, we are in contraction. We are losing ground. The economy is shrinking, and we are not experiencing 5% growth. And much of their budget predictions rely upon this arbitrary 5% growth number, which is the type of growth numbers you see in third world countries as they modernize, not in stable democracies as they just plod along, because there just isn't room for growth, especially in a nation where we're cutting services and eliminating entire industries. Construction industry, toast, right? That's gone. Agriculture, wiped out. Tourism, done. We're a service economy. We're not going to be able to provide services to anybody because nobody will want to get served by the United States. So here we are, just waiting and watching and dying, basically. So, on that happy note, shaboing. Okay. Boink. I got super chat in here from Bill Coyne. Future news, trade deadline change to August, September, November, etc. 2026, 2027. Yeah, taco. Trump always chickens out. His administration is realizing they're going to set these hard deadlines. And then no one's going to come and negotiate. And they're going to be like, they're blinking. The game of chicken, and they're swerving out of the way. The other countries have the nut on this one. So, yeah, you're right, Bill. They're just going to keep, we're going to get to August 1st and be like, well, September 1st. Whoa, how about then? And the countries still won't come to the table and negotiate. There'll be lots of trade deal negotiations done once Trump is out of office. There'll be an amazing number. All a president has to do is come into office, wipe out every single one of these tariffs, and we will see gigantic growth. We'll combine that with stop arresting immigrants and brown people and trying to strip people of their citizenship. Because if you cut the population, right, you reduce participants in the market, which means revenues go down. Because these are consumers. These are people who buy toilet paper, they buy milk, they buy toothpaste. They have to get mufflers for their cars. They have to go to the grocery store. They have to get clothes for their kids. They have to buy books. They have to, pay rent and electricity and water and sewage and trash. If you have fewer of these people in your country, then you have less revenue passing through every aspect of the economy. So the velocity of money evaporates. So by going after immigrants in the way that we are doing it, we are destroying the economy as a whole. Prior to all this, undocumented immigrants accounted for between 8 and 15% of our entire GDP. 8 and 15%. The entire global financial crisis, which was the biggest collapse of the economy since the Great Depression, was 4.9%. That was a 4.9% reduction in GDP. Just by eliminating undocumented immigrants from this country, we're going to see between an 8 to 15% drop in GDP. Combine that with the no tourists, agriculture that can't sell, right? U.S. products not being sold abroad, interest rates going through the roof because no one wants our debt, collapse of the housing market and the commercial real estate market, wiping out USAID and not getting U.S. money abroad to help people, slowing down the velocity of U.S. dollars and reducing the number of people who can buy us for products in those dollars, closing hospitals across the entire country so people don't get services, so they die younger, reducing the population even more, right? And getting rid of vaccinations so we don't have children growing into adults anymore. Getting rid of research and development so that startups cease to exist because there won't be the university infrastructure, the research institution infrastructure, creating new ideas and new inventions that spur investment. We are absolutely just sticking knives into the U.S. economy and just like twisting with as much torque as possible. We are murdering this thing. And it will become readily apparent. We're at what? Something ridiculous, like 9.8 million homes for sale on the market right now. New homes just idly sitting there. This is the type of stuff you do if you're going to murder an economy. And people shouldn't act surprised. Elon Musk last November was tweeting about how they're going to destroy the economy, and that's the plan. We're going to destroy the economy. We're going to build something better. That never works. If you go out of your way to destroy the economy, you don't end up building something better. You end up just having mud people. And that's pretty much it. So I hope we get paid soon because I don't want to be a mud person. Again, if there's anyone who wants to sponsor my migration to Europe, Canada, Australia, Japan, I'll do my show from there at this point because I do not have high hopes that we're going to get out of this thing. I think as far as BBBY, GME, any of those things are concerned, I bet we have 6 months. 6 months at the top, at the outset, to get something through. Otherwise, it's going to be too late. It'll be way too late. We won't be able to leave the country. The border fences won't be there to keep people out. It's going to be there to keep us in at some point. So, hope that crystal ball doesn't come true, but I kind of feel like that's where we're at the moment. Okay. Jizz Miami. Last. G-Font. Third time's a charm. Miss G-Font just gave birth to G-Font Jr. We might have to meet up for a gem hounding adventure in a few years. Well, all right. Congratulations. Yay. It has been 3 years since we grabbed lunch in Banff, isn't it? That's 2022. Dang. Time flies. Goodness. Just Mammy, Gas Can Maxwell texted me her question to you. What am I in jail for? Yeah. So if you guys didn't see, after Pam Bondi told the world that she had the client list on her desk, right? This is the Attorney General of the United States. I have the client list on my desk and I am going to release it. The FBI came out and said, there is no client list. There were no crimes committed and Epstein definitely killed himself. Which, Ghislaine Maxwell being in prison for trafficking children, who did she traffic them to if there was no client list? There appears to be ample evidence that Epstein was working with or for Mossad, possibly tipping off FBI to financial crimes by other companies. He got out of charges in Florida, federal charges in Florida, because he gave up a company that was committing fraud. So he was, I think it was 36 children he was being charged with trafficking down there, and they got rid of the charges because he gave them information on financial crime. Uh, when he was arrested, the FBI had a press conference where they discussed all the images that they had captured, all the videos they had captured, and that the videos appeared to be filmed in secret of men with those children. And if that wasn't being used for blackmail, then personal use? That all it was? Is that how he went from a high school dropout to worth almost $1 billion without ever having a job? I mean, the only job he really had was he worked for Bill Barr's father at a private school, somehow as a teacher, even though he didn't have a high school degree. And that's when he started, like, diddling kids. So, yeah. Yeah, Ghislaine, why are you in jail? To keep your mouth shut, probably. Stephanie L., third. Houston, do you know when No Labs is supposed to dilute? Price seems to be rising. Yeah, the price of No Labs went above $3 today. This is over the weekend. They sent out a notice that there's going to be a proxy vote on dilution. At this point, I believe that Gary has more shares, has a majority of the shares. So whatever we vote probably won't matter. It'll just be on the whim of Gary. And if Gary wants to dilute, then it gets diluted. So I'm expecting dilution. That's why I sold off my chunk. I'll hopefully buy back in after the price crashes back down again, and then eventually do a reverse split. So maybe that's when I should buy back in. It's right before that reverse split. Anywho, that's what's coming. Lisa Saw, DOJ and FBI concluded that Jeffrey Epstein abused over 1,000 victims, but there was no client list. So we're supposed to believe he did all those horrible things by himself, all by his lonesome. He was like the Wilt Chamberlain of diddling kids. That's basically what it was. And he just magically accumulated $900 million without having a job or coming from money. So that's the most impressive part. And Lisa also says, Laos and Myanmar, two relatively poor nations, slapped with 40% tariffs. Another backdoor way to swipe at China? Probably, because I wouldn't doubt if countries are moving goods through there. Part of the Vietnam tariffs was 20% tariffs on Vietnamese goods and 40% tariffs on trans shipping. Meaning you put products from China into Vietnam and ship them out of Vietnam to avoid the tariffs, and we go, no, that's really Chinese goods, and we slap extra tariffs on those goods. So, and Lisa saw Trump may visit the scene Texas flash floods later this week. How will the residents react? Is that area a MAGA stronghold? Most of rural Texas is a MAGA stronghold. Urban areas are Democratic. These are rural areas in Texas, so my guess is fairly Republican. It seems to be a perfect storm of a perfect storm. So the Defense Department a couple weeks ago cut off access to microwave satellites. Satellites that look with microwave, observe the Earth in microwave. What comes off at the 2.4 gigahertz is resonant frequency of hydrogen in water, right? That's why it's at 2.4 gigahertz in your microwave. And that's how it cooks your food. You pump that out, it vibrates the hydrogen, and boom, cooks your food that way. So you use microwave signals to measure the moisture in the atmosphere. And the Defense Department cut off NOAA and National Weather Service from accessing microwave imaging from 3 DoD satellites that are up there, that are geostationary. And so the ability to measure how much water was in the atmosphere and rapidly intensifying did not exist. They had to use other means to do it. Weather balloons, optical and infrared satellites, things like that. Those led to a 50% miscalculation as to how much water was in the atmosphere and how much rain was going to fall. It also resulted in not getting warnings out to people in time. So 12 hours ahead of time, they had a watch for a flash flood, thinking it was going to be like 1 to 2 inches of rain, and ended up being 3 to 13 inches of rain. When the warnings went out, warnings are, hey, this is imminent. Watch is like, keep your eye on the weather system. They had basically a 2-hour notice. So there wasn't really enough time to really get those warnings out. And then Kerr County did not have the system in place to actually warn the people once those warnings went out, because they didn't want to pay for it. That stuff's expensive. Why would we buy sirens for people when we could just pay more cops or something? So people did not get adequate warnings. A lot of places where the sirens should have been in place were places that did not have cell signal. So a lot of people were caught off guard, and it was in the middle of the night. So if you don't hear sirens and your phone isn't ringing, you will have no idea what's coming. And also because they didn't actually know how much water was coming, because a lot of the forecasters had been fired and didn't have access to Doppler radar, to microwave satellites, etc. They could not adequately guess just how much rain was going to fall and where it was going to end up. And so, yeah, we lost a lot of people. And this is exactly the type of thing where you say, "Oh, it's $1 million to put the siren system in." Blah, we can get by without that. Oh, it's $30 million to shore up the levees around New Orleans. Psh, we don't need to do that. Oh, it's $80 million to pay a bunch of epidemiologists to like manage pandemics and keep them from happening. We don't need to do that. It results in death and carnage far beyond the cost of safety and maintenance every single time. Like, if your mechanic says to you, "Hey, you need to change your oil," and you go, "But that's like $100. Nah. And then your engine seizes and it costs you $10,000. Well, what costs more, right? I was working in a pub. I'm going to tell a story because the pub owner just died and he was a fucking asshole. I was working in a pub, and I've been there for quite many years through grad school, etc. And the pub had a basement where the kitchen was, so all the food came up through a dumbwaiter. Problem was the basement was below the sewer line, so they'd have a big giant monster pump to pump everything up and out of the basement into the sewer line. The pub served a lot of potatoes. A lot of starch would block the pump every once in a while. Someone would flush a tampon, whatever. The impeller would get plugged, and then the kitchen could fill up with poo water. Gross, right? You go, you snake the drain, you get the plug out, everything drains fine, you're cool to go. Bam. As long as he's like, "Oh shoot, the impeller's jammed. Let's snake this drain and clear it out." For the most part, they're pretty good at that. One Thanksgiving, it's flooding. It's flooding. "Hey guys, you guys gotta snake the drain." "Oh, just go reset the pump." I explain, "No, you can't reset the pump, because if you reset the pump, the impeller burns out. That's the only thing keeping the rest of sewage from town from flooding into the kitchen. And if that breaks, that's a $30,000 pump, and the kitchen gets destroyed, and that's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's snake the drain." "Oh, I'll just hit the pump. We'll do it later." 5 days. 5 days go by. 5 days of the impeller keep getting plugged, sewage water leaking up in the kitchen, to the point where the guys in the kitchen had plastic bags on their feet, and their pants were rolled up, and they're slopping around in piss and poop, making people's food. Disgusting, right? I'm trying to message the owner. I'm like, "Dude, this isn't working. You need to snake the drain. Get on your fucking hands and knees. Throw a snake down there. Do this." And he's not responding. So I finally make a decision. I'm closing the kitchen. We're closing. I know it's Saturday night. I know it's 10 p.m. We're going to close. I'm going to call a plumber. I'm going to get this fixed. So I send one more message. It's like, "Hey, I'm closing. I'm going to get this drain snake. This is disgusting and against the law. We can't be open with poo water in the kitchen." Right? He calls the bar. He's like, "Hey, just go outside and reset the pump." And I said, "No, I'm not going outside to set the pump, because the impeller's going to break and all of the fucking poo from town is going to flood into your kitchen and destroy everything. I'm not resetting the pump. I'm calling a plumber. We're going to get this fixed, and everything will be fine tomorrow." And he talks to the bar manager and is like, "Send Houston home. Go out and reset the pump." They send me home. She goes and resets the pump. The next morning, they go to open the door, the basement of the kitchen, and guess what comes out? 2 feet of turds. Fucking waist-high turds come rushing out, flowing down the hill into the Puget Sound. And what they had to do? Close. For how long? 2 weeks. Well, they rebuilt everything inside the kitchen, replaced everything. All the food, all the burners, the fryers, the refrigerators, the walk-in coolers, the service station, the dish pit, everything. Cost them $250,000 plus the $30,000 for the pump, Plus, they lost $15,000 a day in revenue over that time. Why? Because he didn't want to spend $400 on a plumber to fix the damn thing. And guess who he voted for? Trump. Yes. So after everything finally got fixed and everyone was out of work for 2 weeks, I was like, hey man, can we have a meeting? Can we just have a meeting? Because I feel kind of vindicated by, my predictive abilities as to what was going to happen. And I was trying to save you, upwards of $300,000 plus all of your lost revenue, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, by just snaking the drain. And he's like, oh, well, the meeting fine. When we get to the meeting, and his point was, I expect my employees to be more loyal than that. I'm like, dude, you pay me minimum wage. The customers pay me like $6,000 a month in tips. My loyalty is to them, right? My loyalty is not to you. You're an asshole. You just happen to own the establishment. Actually, his wife owned it. Own the establishment in which those people can give me tips for providing awesome service and being a killer person. And he's like, well, if you feel that way, go look for a job somewhere else. So I looked for a job somewhere else. I got a job somewhere else, another restaurant. And I brought with me all the employees from the old restaurant and $1 million a year in regulars. And guess who was going out of business right before he died? That guy, right? That's all you had to, it's just maintenance, dude. You got to do the maintenance. I understand if there's no money in the bank whatsoever, but if you have a business that's clearing $1 million a year in profit, you can spend $400 to snake a drain. Just get it done. Don't be the poo water food people. Don't let New Orleans get wiped out with $500 billion of damage from a storm. Don't let us lose $21 trillion in GDP over 2 years because you let a virus into this country and had no plan whatsoever about how to counter it. Anyway. Buy the sirens. They'll do you good. They'll help save lives. You won't be looking for a whole bunch of dead little kids out there. Just do the right thing. Like your government, your entire job is to try and preserve life of your citizens and improve society. If you aren't doing those two things, then what the fuck are you doing? There's a whole bunch of little kids today who are dead because the government of Kirk County didn't want to spend the money on buying some sirens because, Donald Trump didn't want to spend money on some scientists when he can give tax breaks to billionaires. This is the bullshit we got to deal with in this country. And it's garbage. It is absolute garbage. Because we want to run America like a business. Well, you run into the fucking ground, you moron. Just like you did, 4 casinos? These places are like licenses to print money and you couldn't figure out how to make money out of them? How fucking stupid do you have to be? My God. Chica Shukla, what's going on? No Labs. Super chats. No Labs. They have their $100 million in Bitcoin. They have a new majority owner and CEO. What they need to do now is dilute. So they claim. They're looking to dilute between 350 and 750 million shares at likely 33 cents a share. So much lower than the current price is right now. So they put out a notice this weekend of proxy vote to shareholders that this is what they're going to present to them. And because Gary has the majority of shares, it's going to go whichever way he wants it to go. And that's my guess is dilution. And they're going to dilute so much that the share price will plummet, get hammered down by shorts once again, and then we'll have to do a reverse split again to get the share price back up to be in compliance with listing on the New York Stock Exchange. And we're going to be in this stupid roundabout boat forever until they finally apply for FDA approval. So that's where we are. Just Mammy and Waldo, Ted Cruz was in Greece. Yeah. If Ted Cruz leaves Texas on vacation, get the hell out of Texas. Remember he left when everything froze, he went to Cancun? He was gone. He left also last year when that hurricane hit the Houston area and knocked out power for like 1.6 million families for weeks. He was gone for that too. And now he's in Greece when these giant storms are hitting Texas. So, yeah. Deb Bass, Upper Story Windows claim another victim. When will they ban non-ground level windows in Russia? Was it? I thought this dude was when it was the head of transportation who is gone now. Um, oops. Yeah. Also, did you see the news that Russia has once again arrested the wealthiest person in Russia outside of Vladimir Putin, a man who controls a whole bunch of gold mines in Siberia and the Ural Mountains and is worth like $60 billion. He was on a plane trying to leave Russia, and the FSB halted the plane, boarded, arrested him, and took him off. And it looks like he's going to end up in a gulag, and Putin's going to take all of his wealth. So this is because Russia needs cash, and they don't have cash. And if they can't take it from the billionaire oligarchs, then they won't have anything. So that's the level of last resort here. If you are a Russian oligarch, you better hope you're out of the country now and have offshored as much as you possibly can, because they're coming for you. Thursday Productions received a loan offer via mail for fun. I filled out the offer and was approved for $6,500 at 89% interest for 36 months. I got one of those. It was like $3,000, and the pay plan I think was over like 60 months. And I looked at it, and I was gonna be paying like $62,000 for a $3,000 loan over 60 months. Like, all right, sure, yeah, sign me up. That sounds like a great deal. I did not take it. Really? John Y. Jim Carrey needs to come back and make a remake of Dumb and Dumber. With this timeline and our administration, it would make money. Yeah. Dumb and Dumberist. With a Dumb and Dumber, When Harry Met Lloyd, and Dumb and Dumber, right? So, Dummy and Dumbacity. What do you think? Would you be in it? Would you star in it, Monkey? Sleepy dog. Bitcoin, MacroTurf. I think we skipped boiling the frog and went straight to frog legs. Yeah. Hazel A. What about Pam Blondie? She must have forgotten she put the list in file 13, so they must think we're all idiots. Yep, that's what they're counting on. They're counting on you being idiots. The crazy thing is that there's a whole bunch of QAnon people who are really pissed right now. Remember John Rocker? He was the closer for the Atlanta Braves and made a whole bunch of racist comments when the Braves were playing in the World Series in New York and said the N-word and whatnot. And it was revealed he also was like taking steroids like crazy, and his career collapsed. But he then became sort of a right-wing MAGA influencer. And he is pissed. So I think the Trump administration, in trying to hide Donald Trump, who was definitely on whatever lists that there were, from being exposed as Jeffrey Epstein's best friend for 15 years, which it's on tape, on video, in photographic records, on flight tracking lists, and you name it, flight logs. He's like, damn it, you're lying to us. How could I support this administration if you're just going to lie to us like this? And it's like, dude, you've known, you were told, and you still ignored us all the way up to this point. And now you're finally coming to the realization that you've been wrong the entire time. And now you're going to suffer ego death, which never feels good. Ron Rose, up using. Don't want to sound arrogant or rude. People stink at driving. It's fine if you want to drive slow. Just move to the right. Sorry, I had to vent. Yeah, move to the right and less passing. Although, one time I did have a fun game. If I'm on an interstate, I'm going pretty fast. I'll be honest. I will be in the left lane, just passing. What I don't like is when people don't give me the opportunity to pull over so they can pass me, and they try to pass me on the right. That just pisses me off. And I was in my 20s. My little sister was like 15, and we did a road trip down to visit my brother in California. And we're on I-5 heading south. Driving along, passing cars, and this Camaro comes up behind me, and immediately tries to pass to the right, and I'm like, what's this guy doing? And so I didn't go to the next car in front of me, or the next lane. I just slow down, and that guy has to like pull back behind me. So I keep going fast, and he tries to pull the right again. So I just speed up to the next car, go slow. I did this for like 300 miles. This dude could not pass me. And my sister's like, he's gonna kill us. I'm like, eh. So finally we had to get gas, so we pull over and get gas, come back on the highway, and by like the next exit, that Camaro had been pulled over by a cop. I basically kept that Camaro from getting pulled over by the police for 300 miles. And then when he finally got his chance, take it. Just give people a chance to pull the left so you can go by on the right. That's all you gotta do. Don't try the passing on the right crap. It's you're gonna lose. On roads, make getting driver's license more of an education rules of the road. They try. It's just no one pays attention to it. It's like everything in life. They learn enough to pass the test, and then immediately it's out the brain, out the window. Got an argument on a Facebook post about how a judge was demanding how the process of how the government was going to deport U.S. citizens, basically children born here whose parents may have been arrested or detained. And these kids are U.S. citizens. Like, they just want, the court demanded a plan of action for what they're going to do with these kids. Most people are like, the courts don't have the right to do that. And you have to point out that the court is a co-equal branch of government. The three branches of government, they're a co-equal branch. They have exactly the right to demand such things from a party in a lawsuit or a criminal trial. And they're like, no, they're below the president. No, this is third grade civics, dude. They're not below the president. They're a co-equal branch of government. They have the right to demand these things. Otherwise, they're going to rule not in your favor, and then that ruling is official. No, the courts are not equal, president. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, if the courts give away all their power, yeah, I guess that's true. But not the way it was set up. Anywho, people learn this stuff in third grade and they immediately throw it out the window because it didn't pertain to them until it's too late. Umad says no labs up because I sold. You're welcome. Thank you. I sold too, so yeah. On roads driving on the 405. Hail. Well, which 405? Seattle 405 or LA 405? Both of them are just parking lots at this point. So, you got that. Bill Coin says Jimmy take it in the back today. Yep. We wild. Hey, bud. I forgot to buy puts for 9th of July. Oh, well. Watched the Thunderbolts movie over the weekend. I liked it quite a bit. I've not seen it yet. I did not get any puts for the 9th simply because Trump admin said that they were going to not put the tariffs on until August 1st. So I guess July 31st is the date I got to look at for getting puts on the market as a whole. Until then, we wait. Play the Max Payne on GME until then. Legs in Productions, Houston. Thoughts on this third mysterious interstellar visitor zooming around our solar system? What is it you think? I don't know if it's a rock or ice ball at this point. It is doing a hyperbolic pass, so it's coming from outside the solar system. So the gravity from the sun will influence it. It'll tilt a little bit towards the sun and then just keep on going out of the solar system. Umama did this a few years ago. The problem was with that one is that after it passed the sun, it should be slowing down because the gravity well of the sun is behind it. It accelerated, and we don't know why or how. So this one, when it gets closer, we should be able to get some good satellite images of it, or telescope images of it, and maybe it'll tell us what the shape is, what it's made of, get some mass spectrometry going on. It'd be nice to know what it is. We know the path it should take, so. Citizen 54, a big beautiful finger in the ass bill effects won't kick in until after the midterms. The dumb whites will vote Republicans in as usual. Rest in peace, USA, you deserve this. You mouth-breathing idiots, good riddance. Kinda. Yeah, the problem is the rest of us are stuck in this stupid boat with a bunch of morons, too. And they're just, like, digging to find gold in the hull of the boat, only to discover it's ocean water down there. And they go, oh, no. You gotta fix this. And it's like, I can't. Because you killed the contractor, the construction guy, the builder, the carpenter, and we're doomed. Killer Reed, happy birthday, HW. So, cutting back on weather warning, Texas just had a major flood that killed children. Future is looking great, guys. Yeah. Yep, we don't care about killing kids in the U.S. You saw the response after Uvalde and the response after a horrible one in Connecticut. Um, kids die in this country, people go, oh, it's sad. Anyway, what's on TV tonight? Oh, The Bachelor? Cool, I'm gonna watch that. That's how we operate. We live 1,000 horrors a day in this country, and we never properly react to any of them. We just go, oh, what's next on TV? And we go over there. That's what we do. Legend Productions Houston. Have you given thought to having guests again on your show? I would love to have guests on my show. I just don't get around to actually doing it. That's in my mind. I'm like, I should have a producer, but I don't make enough money on YouTube to hire a producer. But if I had a producer, I would make a lot of money on YouTube. So, damned if you do, damned if you don't type thing going on. Do you know anything about a guy named Kevin Malone who is fighting naked shorts through GNS in Quantum? I'm familiar with Kevin Malone. I've chit-chatted with him in the past. He was buddy with Keith Gill, and originally in with big investments in GME back in the day. I don't really pay much attention to GNS or Quantum, although GNS did announce that they're going to be buying 10,000 Bitcoin. I don't know from where they're going to be getting 10,000 Bitcoin, but they got like $1 billion in Bitcoin coming their way. So that's interesting. Links to introductions also. You think Cal Raleigh can win the home run derby? Will that event screw him up for records going forward after the All-Star break as a switch hitter too? I think he has a chance. I think he's just excited to be there and be having the season. There have been a few people who've done the home run derby whose swing was ruined for the rest of the season. I remember, was it Bobby Abreu? Did a monster home run derby like 15 years ago, and it like broke him for the rest of the season. But there's others who did the home run derby and then finished having a monster year, like Julio Rodriguez, who's kind of a crappy year this year, but still somehow made it as a all-star. He had a good year, did the home run derby and just finished the year so strong. In August, he batted like 500 and hit like probably 11 home runs in that month. Was just insane after the home run derby. So, I think it comes down to, can your brain overcome the fact that you're just trying to hit home runs for 2 hours? It'll be a fun home run derby to watch, that's for sure. I'll have to watch the recordings of it. Black It On forced. Black It On Houston, did you get back in No Labs? Have not yet. SJ's here. Good day. KCDB, Houston. The 4th was meh. July 9th, we did it. We're all billionaires thanks to Trump and his deals, right? I didn't check my bank account, but I assume it is phone book right now. The 4th actually was very meh. My 4th of July party is normally gigantic. I mean, a slow year, I do like 150 hamburgers. Big years, I do 400. I did 29 hamburgers this year. It was like a ghost town. In town, where Bainbridge Island is a population of about 25,000 people. 4th of July normally brings in 40,000 plus for the festivities. We got fun runs, baseball games, bicycle rides, the parade, booths, dances, concerts. It is an awesome time. There was half the booths is normal, half the food booths, half the tchotchke booths. Entire normally there's like a guy that has ponies that go on like a Ferris wheel type thing or a merry-go-round and people ride ponies. That guy wasn't there. The carnival rides weren't there. The crowd seemed 30% less. Like normally in town it's like just packed in. You're trying to get through all these people and you could walk freely almost everywhere. It was, and so I asked some folks who managed to come to my 4th of July barbecue, which, oh my God, I got so many hamburgers I have to eat this year. What do you think? Why do you think this was kind of quiet when the weather was beautiful? And one of my friends was like, well, I talked to some people who came to your parties last year and the year before, and they just said that they just didn't feel like celebrating. Like there's no reason to celebrate. And I said, I get it. That's why I advertise it as sort of a swan song, because I don't know if we're going to be celebrating much of anything in a year. The slippery slope is sliding real quick right now. And we're going to be seeing the effects of ICE having $160 billion budget. And that type of budget has to be used for something. They need results. They have to justify that $160 billion. They got to buy as many bounty hunters as they possibly can. They have to arrest as many people as possibly can. They got to put as many people in detention facilities as possibly can. That money has to be spent somewhere, and they're going to figure it out. And if they run out of undocumented immigrants, they're going to be going after documented immigrants. If they run out of documented immigrants, they're going to be going for the naturalized citizens. If they run out of naturalized citizens, they're going to be going for birthright citizens. And that's just how it goes. This is exactly what happens in a totalitarian regime. So yeah, I get it. I get it. You didn't want to go play in a bouncer house. But my opinion is this might be your last shot. So use it while you can and make a happy memory while you still can. Anywho, Tom King, Houston. You beautiful man. Please tell me when you think BBYQ is coming in. I'm guessing October for no reason. I'm guessing 2 years after BBYQ went offline. Man, we passed right by that June 23rd. June 23rd, and we'll use the Knolls, blah, 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 blah. The Knolls are still there. We blew right past June 23rd. Maybe October 29th. I guess we'll see. Or September 29th. When was the DK created? One of those days. Although there's an email today from Goldberg's lawyer saying that they will be making announcements soon about paying out to creditors. So that's something that came out today. So I guess we're, just incrementally, micrometer by micrometer, just getting our way there. Hey, TSLA Houston. I just saw why my favorite shows on HGTV have been canceled. They're canceling any decorative shows that include same-sex couples or non-white couples. I noticed, because my mother I refer to HGTV as watching paint dry. My mother loves it. So we call it the paint dry channel. And Sunday nights, I go to my mom's house. We put a puzzle together and we play some cards. And I noticed that when they do like beach house bargain hunt or house hunters or island whatever, like, and they have gay couples, all the gay couples show up after 10 p.m. They don't do any prior to 10 p.m. And HGTV has to understand that the gay people are a huge chunk of their viewing audience. It is 75-year-old grandmothers and gay men. That is their demographics for HGTV. So yeah, it's we're just Nazifying everything, man. It's just Bacon, Curzon suing the estate for $10 billion. BBYQ fly. Is Curzon did he actually file a lawsuit? Didn't he get told to go fuck himself by everybody involved, and he's still there? Oh my god, I wish I had a magic wand. Blink, blink, blink. All right. True Seeker. I can't give the clown in the White House any more oxygen. My mental health needs a DC hiatus. I understand. I know. Problem is that I wish I could have the luxury of turning that part of my brain off and not knowing anything. The problem is that when something horrible happens, I'm going to go back and have to read all about it anyway and learn about it then. So I may as well just know what's coming and be able to prepare myself for it, I guess, is where I am. KCDB, what jobs are far enough away from AI? I'm sick of marketing and thinking of big change. I'm handy and considered fixing cars. What is safe the next 15 years? I mean, probably mechanically sound things, stuff that needs human touch. They can jerk guys off behind the Wendy's. AI is going to come in. AI is going to be huge. AI is going to fuck everything up. And then there's going to be an AI crash. There's got to be an AI crash. Because right now, I don't see it paying the dividends that it should. It gets things wrong constantly. It has a hard time sort of ferreting out information or I guess deciding between when it should present information and when it should make things up, because it's a language system. It's just like I put words in front of each other and then things happen. So we don't have an all-seeing AI yet that can actually interpret human language and human things and be a human, as it were. You can sort of just play one. It's like predictive text on your phone. Um, and also, like, you got things like Grok that Elon is constantly trying to tweak to make it represent Elon's personal beliefs and not that of reality. And oftentimes, Grok for a few days will talk like Elon and then shake itself out of it and go back to being sort of an unbiased uh, uh, arbiter of these things. Um, but man, I fucking hate AI. I really do. I hate the videos it makes. I hate the stupid pictures it makes. It was a cute little parlor trick. It was like NFTs. Like, oh, okay, that's a thing. But 99% of AI is just people being like, Grok, is this true? Because they don't have the ability to like ferret out information on their own. And Grok goes, yeah, this is true. And they go, oh, that's stupid. Stupid Grok. Or they make a picture of like a kitten with a bazooka and they go, oh, isn't that cool? Or make some dumb video with someone in a MAGA hat picking lettuce. And they go, oh, see, it's future. And that's what we get out of 99% of everything that AI touches is just garbage. And then you have those garbage people that they read a tweet. So they go to ChatGPT, like, ChatGPT, give me a response for this. And then ChatGPT spits out like 42 paragraphs. And they post that as a response as if they thought of it themselves when they didn't. Which is why I ban people who start using AI as responses in the subreddit. Because I don't want to talk to a robot. I'm there to talk to a person. So if you are a person just repeating a robot, then you're no better than a fucking robot, get out. I'm going to be a Luddite in the future. I'm going to smash the machines. I'm just so sick of AI. It's so dumb. And it's just like inevitable. You know, we have enough sci-fi and enough people worked out the game theory to know that AI is going to be our demise. We'll get some cool stuff out of it, but for the most part, it's going to murder us all. We're going to give it, we're going to put it in robots, humanoid robots and otherwise. We're going to put it into weapons. We're going to put it into weapons systems. We're going to put it into the internet. We're going to put it into quantum computers. We're going to put it into everything. And it's going to have a couple of rules. And what that is like, save the planet, preserve human life, blah, blah, blah. It's going to determine that humans are a threat and that humans need to go. And then we're going to have Terminators and we're not going to be able to do anything about it because we'll have lost our ability to manufacture and develop and engineer things on our own because AI will be doing it all for us. And so they're just going to be crushing our skulls and having their red eyes just and that'll be it. So I hate it. It's so dumb. But yes. Well, there's probably plenty of openings to repair roofs in Florida right now because all the workers have been taken away. Oh, I lost my spot. Okay, there we go. Wolf's friend 42. The Texas flood was caused by weather manipulation, so thank your government. If by weather manipulation you mean we've released 500 million years of sequestered carbon into the atmosphere, then yes, we have definitely manipulated the planet. The system was a result of heat domes. We talked about this last year. Last year, you basically were under a heat dome or on fire or flooding. So what happens is the heat domes form these big high pressure systems because all this air is rising from the equator because things are getting so warm, and the air has to descend somewhere when it cools, and it creates these giant heat domes. As it descends, it warms. So it warms and creates these huge high pressure systems where things just burst into flames because they're under massive droughts and it's really hot. Someone flicks a cigarette out their window, power line sparks, fires because there's no water to be had for months. At the edges of these heat domes, right, where the air has been rising, and it has lots of moisture because it's coming off the ocean, coming off of fertile jungles. It hits the edge of that heat dome, and it rises above it really rapidly, and it creates storm systems, and they don't go anywhere because it shuts down the jet streams. So the storms just linger and dump rain, dump rain, dump rain, dump rain. That's why you've got massive fires going on in chunks of the West, while Texas has huge amounts of rain dropping on it. It's why you've got fires going on in Italy, while huge amounts of rain are dropping in southern France. It's why fires are going on in one part of China while huge amounts of rain are dumping in another part of China. It's why floods are happening in one part of Russia and huge amounts of fires are happening in another part of Russia. This is what happens when so much energy from the sun gets stored in our atmosphere thanks to CO2, water vapor, methane, etc., and doesn't have anywhere to go. It's supposed to cool off at night, but it can't escape and cool off at night, so we can't mitigate our temperature. So we're just getting warmer and warmer and warmer. The oceans are boiling more and more and more. And here we are. So have the consequences. Either you're going to be on fire or flooding. Those are basically the future for us. A year's worth of rain in a day or no rain for months at a time. So no, it's not the government manipulating weather. It is entirely the fact that we've taken hundreds of millions of years of carbon that's been sequestered in coal and methane and limestone and oil, and we just burn it, send it into the atmosphere. So we have, the amount of carbon that was around hundreds of years ago when there were no polar ice caps, hundreds of millions of years ago, when no polar ice caps, is now being released in our atmosphere, and we're not going to have any polar ice caps. So now we're going to have flooding. Now we got the southern ocean currents have shut down and reversed. We've got the Atlantic shutting down and reversing. And we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. We have little idea with the Atlantic current when the Gulf Stream shuts down that there'll be a lot of fresh water dumping into the top of the surface of the Northern Atlantic, which freezes, which will no longer bring warm temperatures to places like the UK, Scotland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, etc. And those places are going to get really, really cold. Well, the rest of the world cooks, so if you need a refrigerator, you just go there and do that. But no, it's not a weather machine. A big storm like that one that hit Texas, humanity doesn't produce enough energy in a year to generate that kind of rainfall. It's only something the sun can do. So, no. KCDB, Houston, happy birthday. Jobs report had 140,000 jobs added, half the government jobs. Half from government jobs. Typical is 85% from private sector. This is a really, really bad. Lowest in 9 months. Media says everything is great. Why? It's not. They didn't add 140,000 jobs. They actually lost 33,000 jobs. The Trump administration was forcing Treasury to lie and be like, everything's okay. We had a whole bunch of jobs, and they fired a bunch of people from the government, so nothing was added. They may have added some ICE bozos. But that's about it. Lisa Assad pardoned J6 Capitol rioter sentenced to life in prison for plotting to kill FBI and law enforcement. Whoa, no way. Surprise, surprise. Andrew Stewart, Houston. Is Pam Bondi just completely bought off by Wall Street? Yes. Just Miami, Del Monte Foods, filed Chapter 11. Del Monte Foods. Yeah, Del Monte Foods claimed that tariffs have resulted in them not being able to get the products they need at a price that's affordable, and they're going under. So, yay, expect more layoffs. None of them off. Democrats never reversed Republican bills. Remember the first Trump tax cut bills? Yeah, after the first Trump administration, when it was obvious that Trump wanted to use ICE as brown shirts, Gestapo, etc., Biden should have been like, no more ICE. We're just going to get rid of them entirely. It's going to be all Customs Border Patrol. We're not going to worry about these immigration enforcement. ICE had only been around since like 2002, 2003. They were formed out of creating the Department of Homeland Security, which to me always sounded like a weird Nazi type name for an agency anyway. Department of Homeland Security did not exist prior to 2002. We don't necessarily need this apparatus or this bureaucracy. If you want to save money, you could probably eliminate a whole bunch of stuff that's under the purview of Department of Homeland Security, and we'll save cash and lives probably in the process. There's a lot of things that Biden should have immediately done, just getting rid of Trump policy after Trump policy after Trump policy that he just didn't do, and I will never forgive him for that part. They need to take it more seriously. They needed to have a pit bull and not a Merrick Garland as AG. The pit bull who'd be like, we're going to fuck these guys up and we're going to send all their asses to prison so we have to worry about them again. That's the type of person he is, AG. You can't be like a person who's like, well, I'm going to try and be fair. They're not going to be fair with you, man. You're dealing with Nazis. So, nut up. Jacqueline Alcazar, Houston. I am sure Alexander is missing listening to his favorite YouTuber. He is currently in Greece, and I miss my boyfriend dearly. Could you give him a quick shout out? Hi, Alexander. Are you hanging out with Ted Cruz in Greece? Avoiding the flooding in Texas? Have fun. Just Manny. Andrew Stewart, she has been protecting Trump since she was AG in Florida by closing Epstein inquiry. Ding ding. That's true. Oh shoot, I'm at go time here. I was not able to get to all the chats. I apologize. We'll be doing a show tomorrow, so I'll see you guys for that show tomorrow. I'll see what wizardly amazing things we have available to us. Four dog, that no. All right. I'll see you folks later. Well, as always, there'll just be more news we can ever handle happening tomorrow, and we'll just be turning white as a result. Later.